What's up, I'm Jad T. Jones, and in this video, I'm going to show you how to overcome your fear of approaching and talking to women for good without going out and doing countless approaches, getting countlessly rejected, and also without doing more self-improvement. God knows you've done enough self-improvement, you've watched enough videos, you've read enough books, and you're still stuck. So now we're gonna give you a completely new strategy. The new strategy that I'm about to share with you is a discovery that I made that completely allowed me to break through from my prison of fear and finally be able to go out and approach and talk to the women that I truly want. So by the end of this video, you're gonna have the exact secret that's gonna allow you to finally break through from your fear of approaching and talking to beautiful women and finally get you able to go out and talk to, approach, and attract the women that you're truly attracted to. Even if you've failed in the past, even if you've tried tons of times and failed in the past, this is going to be different because this is going to be a completely new approach. So let me tell you how I came to discover this completely new approach. When I was younger, as you know or don't know, my father was absent. My father was absent and I was raised mainly by my mother. And growing up, I was a very shy, insecure, introverted kid. I not only was afraid or shy of women, I was shy around people in general, okay? To some degree, I was scared of my own shadow. When there was ever a group gathering of people, whether it was a family gathering or at school or wherever, I would kind of, make myself small, hope nobody noticed me, and kind of blend into the wallpaper, hoping that nobody would talk to me because I was so insecure. Then when I grew up and I was turning, 13, 14, even before then, I started liking girls. And I really loved girls, but at the same time, I was terrified of them, okay? So I had this inner conflict inside of me where one side of me wanted to be one with these girls and date them and kiss them and, just be one with them. But on this other side, I felt genuine terror, okay? I was terrified to even talk to a girl. So when I grew up, when I started, 15, 16, 17, all the way into my 20s, I had this social anxiety, this fear of approaching and talking to women. And I had this feeling of unworthiness, thinking that, you know what, if I go and talk to her, she's gonna find out that I'm shy, that I'm weak, that I'm boring, that I'm not interesting enough. I'm not like these loud, extroverted alpha guys. She's not gonna like me. So I had these unworthiness issues. I had these shyness issues. And perhaps my biggest challenge in my life was overcoming my approach anxiety. I was terrified to go and approach a woman that I was attracted to. So I'm sure a lot of you guys can relate to that. And so this brings us to a point that you can really relate to, which is, what was my initial strategy for overcoming my fear of approaching and talking to the girls I was really attracted to? Because, I could, generally approach and talk to the women that, I didn't feel that much attraction towards. But those women that I was just like, oh my God, look at that girl. Wow, she's gorgeous. I couldn't go and approach her. I couldn't go and talk to her. Or even if she approached me, I would freeze and I would just be nervous, and then it would just be awkward, and then she would walk away, right? It was just a disaster. So what was my initial strategy at overcoming my fear, overcoming my anxiety, and, finally getting this woman thing handled? Well, the first thing I tried was I started trying to get my hands on every book, every article, every blog post, every video I could get my hands on, talking about how to attract women, how attraction works, how to overcome your fear, how to have more confidence, how to overcome social anxiety, how to make people like you, all these things. So I was studying all this material about social psychology and attraction and seduction and all this stuff. However, even after studying those materials, for a period of years, I was still stuck in my fear. Okay, I was still afraid to go and approach the women I really wanted. So that was really frustrating to me because in my head, conceptually, I knew exactly what I needed to do. However, when it came to the real world, no matter how much information I had in my mind, that fear was still there, and I was still paralyzed, and I was still not able to go and approach. Or I'd still approach, but then I was too nervous. I wasn't able to control my nerves. Excuse me. And so I would just blow it. So it was really disheartening because after a period of, let's say around 5 years of just accumulating information, accumulating, reading, accumulating, going out, accumulating more information, I finally realized that, more information does not equal getting rid of the fear. So now mentally, conceptually, I know what to do, but physically, I still feel this fear. And so I kind of hit a wall, and I felt scared because I was thinking, wow, I spent all this time and all this effort learning about seduction and social dynamics and all this stuff. And I put my heart and soul into it, and I tried to learn as much as I can, and still I can't go out and do it. Still, I'm afraid. And so then I started thinking, wow, does that mean I'm not good enough? Does that mean I don't have what it takes as a man? Does that mean I'm a coward? If I know all this stuff intellectually but still can't do it, what does that make me? And so then I started judging myself and feeling bad that I knew what to do, but I still didn't have the balls to do it. And I'm sure a lot of you can relate. Conceptually, you guys, you understand the game. You have a good understanding of everything on a mental level. However, when you show up, when you see that beautiful girl over there, you're still paralyzed by fear. And so I stayed inside that. So basically I hit that invisible wall, and there was no more really information to gather because I knew everything. And so I just got to this point where I hit this invisible wall, and I just stopped for a matter of months. And I'm just like, I don't know what else to do. Okay, I've read everything I need to read, studied everything I need to study 10 times over. But when I go out there, the fear in my heart and my gut and my body is still here. Am I just a coward? Am I just a hopeless case? Should I just give up? And so for a period of time, I just stopped trying. I just stopped going out. And one day I remember I picked up a book, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. You've probably heard me talk about this book because it's one of my favorite books. Actually, let me grab it really quick. Let me just grab it. Okay, let me just change the focus. That's focusing on, there we go. Okay, so Think and Grow Rich. I picked up this book, and I was just reading it, disheartened, feeling like, okay, maybe I can't get this woman thing handled. Maybe I can get my money stuff handled. And then I fell upon this chapter called The Mastermind Principle. And this chapter gave me one of the biggest epiphanies of my life and gave me the freedom from fear. And that's what I'm going to share with you in the rest of this video. So I was reading this chapter on the mastermind principle. And basically what Napoleon Hill said is he said that after spending 25 years studying 500 of the most successful men in America, after 25 years of studying 500 of the most successful men, I have come to one conclusion. Not one of these men reached success alone. Every single one of the 500 men that I studied over the past 25 years, this is Napoleon Hill speaking, used the principle of the mastermind, which means used the cooperation of other men in order to get the success that he wanted. And so he writes in this book, no man can generate any significant power or success alone. And I read that. And then I just stopped and I put the book down. And I started having this epiphany. I started looking back at the past 5, 7, however many years of my life that I've been stuck in fear, bumping up against this invisible wall. And boom, all of a sudden I realized something. I pictured myself. And the majority, actually all of my journey was spent like this, on a computer, sitting at a desk, alone. Or in my room, reading a book, alone. Or going to the mall, walking around, hoping I'm going to approach a woman, alone. And then the pattern emerged. Holy shit. This whole journey, this whole time that I've been seeking success with women, the one pattern amongst the past 5, 7 years that I've been trying to break through this invisible wall, the one pattern is that I was doing it all alone. And in this book, which is a book that tells you what the principles of success are, what it takes to be successful, this man who studied 500 of the most successful men said that not one of them did it alone. And so that's when I realized my biggest mistake. Holy shit, Jad. The reason why you haven't been able to break through your fear isn't because you're a coward, isn't because you're not smart enough, isn't because you don't have what it takes as a man. The reason why you have not been able to break through your fear and go approach women and be the man you've always wanted to be is because you've been doing it alone. And what I learned from the mastermind principle, from Think and Grow Rich, no man can generate any significant power alone. And that's the key for you. The thing that's holding you back from approaching that woman over there is that you don't have enough power generated inside of you. Power can only be generated inside of a mastermind, inside of a group of 2 or more people working in complete harmony towards a common goal. Okay? A mastermind is a group of 2 or more people working together in complete harmony towards a common goal. That's the only way. So I said to myself, okay, Jad, if this guy, Napoleon Hill, spent 25 years of his life, this guy spent 25 years of his life studying 500 of the most successful men. Okay, so if it was these days, he would have been studying Bill Gates, Steve Jobs, Donald Trump, Ray Dalio, all these great men, all these Richard Branson. He was studying the most successful. So I came back and I said to myself, all right, if this guy spent 25 years studying 500 of the most successful men, and he came to the conclusion that a man cannot generate significant power or success alone, then who am I to argue with this? And the biggest error that I had growing up, I was pig-headed. And I always thought, you know what, I'm gonna do this alone. I always saw people doing things, teaming up, cooperating, collaborating, but I always told myself, I'm an introvert. I like to do things alone. I'm gonna figure this woman thing out alone. And I also had this shame that I was afraid of women, so I didn't want other people to know. So I was too ashamed to collaborate with other men and have them support me and hold me accountable and generate power together. And so I thought, I'm gonna do it alone, I'm gonna do it alone, I'm gonna do it alone. But once I had this epiphany, once I read this book, this chapter in this book about the mastermind principle, I realized that my pig-headedness, my stubbornness of I'm going to go at the world alone and I'm going to figure out everything alone, was why I was hitting this invisible wall of fear that I wasn't able to break through. So that is the epiphany that I want to share with you today. But it's not that simple, so stick with me, because there are 3 elements you need to know about masterminding, and I'm going to tell you what they are, because if you don't know these 3 elements, you're still not going to be able to implement the mastermind principle correctly in your life and allow it to help you break through your fear. So after I had this epiphany, I thought, okay, wow. So all I need to do now is go change my strategy from going at things alone, at my computer alone, reading books alone, going out alone, figuring this out in my head alone. All I have to do is go from that to then collaborating with another man, at least one other man, get into a mastermind with him, have him encourage me and hold me accountable, and I do the same for him. And then boom, I'm going to be off to the races and be able to approach women, talk to them, break through my fear, and not have that, never be trapped by fear, because inside of the mastermind principle, it says that you generate power, and with power, that's what allows men to break through their fears and go after what they want, when they have that power behind them. And so what I did, my first strategy, is I went out and I masterminded. I found another guy, let's just call him Kevin. I found this guy Kevin, and I said, hey Kevin, you know what? Let's figure this woman thing out. Let's push each other to go approach women. Let's get this handled once and for all. Now, Kevin was kind of motivated, but he also wasn't good with women. And he's like, okay, dude, okay, we'll try. So I started masterminding with Kevin. And I told him, all right, hold me accountable. This is what I'm going to do. These are the girls I'm going to approach. We're going to go out every weekend. We're going to approach this amount of women. We're going to have goals. Boom, boom, boom. We're going to hold each other accountable and whatnot. So what happened next was that at first Kevin was super excited. He's like, yeah, dude, I'm down. Let's do this. Blah, blah, blah. And then the first weekend came, and he came out with me on Friday night. And we went to the bar, and, he pushed me a bit. I approached some women. I pushed him a bit, but he was like kind of hesitant. He approached maybe one or two women, but basically the rest of the night, he was just holding his beer and just not doing much. Then the next day, Saturday, I'm like, all right, Kevin, we're going out tonight again. We're going to do this again. And then I started hearing, I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't really feel like it. I'm kind of tired. And to make a long story short, Kevin wasn't really accountable. He wasn't really that motivated. He didn't want it as much as I did, and he wasn't committed to it as much as I was. So what happened is he wasn't really there for me emotionally, mentally, or even physically when I wanted him to be my wingman and go out. And so I left him behind, and then I tried masterminding with another guy and then another guy. And basically that didn't really work because everybody I found, they weren't really invested. They didn't really get it. They didn't really understand how important this was. And they were kind of all like kind of half-assed. Oh yeah, right? So that strategy of just masterminding with Kevin from across the street didn't really work. So then I thought, all right, well, I have to find people who are more committed to this. So the second thing I did is I started attending some boot camps. So a boot camp is basically a weekend workshop held by some dating advice coach where you travel somewhere. You go, you sit in a seminar for some of the time, then you go out and they tell you, okay, go approach this girl, go approach this girl. You go out in the daytime, then you go out at night, approach. So I was thinking, okay, I have to apply the mastermind principle, and these guys are all about dating and pushing me and stuff like that. So I would go to these boot camps, and during the seminar they would teach some stuff and it was okay, but I knew most of it. And then, at night we'd go out and, they'd be like, okay, go approach that girl. Okay, go approach that girl. And that was good because I had somebody keeping me accountable and pushing me. And so what would happen is during the event, during the boot camp, I would feel really good. I'm like, yeah, I approached 10 girls here. I approached 5 girls here. I had these good conversations. I had these good interactions. And I'd be really pumped. And then I would get on a plane and fly myself back home. And then once I was home, I'd look around again and be like, oh crap, I'm alone again. And I would go out to the street expecting, all right, now I got this handled. Now in the boot camp, I was approaching women, so now it's gonna be the same. And I would go out, and the first week, okay, I would still be able to do approaches and stuff. But the second week onwards, what would happen is that seminar high would disappear. Okay, you all know if you've been to a seminar, a few days after the seminar, even a week after the seminar, you're on a seminar high and you're motivated and all this stuff. But after about a week, my negative thoughts started coming in, my fears started coming in, and I looked around and I was alone and I didn't have anyone to talk to. So these coaches from the boot camp, they didn't have any follow-up with me. Okay? They didn't really care what happened to me after the boot camp. They took my money, they helped me for 3 days, poof, gone, out of my life. They didn't even ask what happened to me or anything like that. So I didn't have that ongoing support. So then I realized, I thought, oh, I got another realization. Okay, so you can't mastermind from Kevin from around the block because he's not committed. You can't mastermind with these dating coaches who just are there for a weekend boot camp and then let you go, because what you need is someone who keeps you accountable, and what you need is ongoing support. So then I thought, okay, I get it. Okay, so a mastermind, and I went back to the book Think and Grow Rich. And in here he talks about how men mastermind on a regular basis. So then I got this realization of, oh, okay, so masterminding isn't something you do for a little while and then you stop. No, you get a powerful group and then you keep masterminding, and basically as you keep masterminding, you're generating power. When you stop masterminding, you're back alone and you don't generate power. Remember, what did Napoleon Hill say? No man can generate power alone. No man. Zero men. Okay? No man can generate power alone. Power is only generated when men gather together in harmony towards a specific goal and support each other. So, with these pieces that I started realizing, I thought, okay, so what I need is the combination of a qualified mentor who has walked this road before. So he knows what it takes, he knows the commitment it takes, and he's as committed as I am. And I need him for the long haul. I need him on a regular basis, because when I just hired these coaches for a weekend and then left, I did not have that ongoing support that I needed. And our fears and insecurities and limiting beliefs and blind spots aren't going to all be cured in a 3-day boot camp. The coach has to then stay with us and support us and keep us accountable and mastermind with us along the way after that to help us continue to grow. So the next thing I did, the third strategy I used. So first strategy, mastermind with Kevin from across the block. X didn't work. Second strategy, mastermind with these boot camp guys. X didn't work because after 3 days, there's no support. So the third strategy I used was I went out and I started hiring quality, high-level coaches in different areas. Some were dating coaches, some were spiritual coaches, some were personal performance coaches. And what I did is I hired these different mentors for periods of, let's say, 3 months at a time, where they would stay with me, and I would talk to them on the phone once a week, where they would stay with me on my journey and support me on my journey, and we would mastermind throughout the 3 months on the phone and during the week through email or text message. And so that's when I started getting my breakthroughs. Okay, so as I told you before, my biggest fear was the fear of approaching a woman that I was truly attracted to. Well, I'm happy to tell you that once I put these pieces together of a quality mentor for an extended period of time, that's when things clicked for me, and I finally was consistently breaking through that invisible wall, which was for me the fear of approaching a beautiful woman and having a playful, casual, flirtatious conversation with her. So I got to tell you, man, I was so happy and amazed watching myself all of a sudden going out night after night after night and taking the action, going after these beautiful women. I'll never forget, there was this one night I was out with my buddy Stefan. We were shooting pool, and I saw this girl, and she was one of the most beautiful women I've ever seen in my life. And previously, I would have never gone to approach her. Never. I would be too intimidated. But because I had my mastermind with my quality mentor, and I had been masterminding for a while and generating that power, that accountability, I looked at her and I felt fear, but I said, I gotta go talk to that girl. I'm gonna kick myself if I don't go talk to her. So I walked up to her and I started talking to her. I said, hey, what's up? How you doing? And I started talking to her, and we ended up having an amazing connection and an amazing bond. And eventually her and I got together. And I can't tell you how rewarding it is to get the exact woman that you want. Those women when you look out and you're like, oh my God, what I would do just to have just a week with her, right? That's just priceless. And we had a great time together, and I was so grateful. And I was so grateful, especially to my mastermind, because I knew from experience that it wasn't because of all the solo study that I was doing. It was because of the constant masterminding I was having with other high quality mentors, which then allowed me to generate the power to go out and take action and go after my dreams. So the epiphany that I had was that a mastermind used on an ongoing long-term basis with a quality mentor is the formula for overcoming fear and breaking through that invisible wall. So, bringing this back to you, your story right now is that you're bumping up against this invisible wall. And you're watching, you pick up your phone or you open your laptop and you come in, you're desperate to find the answer. And why do I say desperate? Because I was desperate too. Desperate on the fact that you're hitting this invisible wall. Let's take this away. It's an invisible wall and you're hitting it and you don't know why. And you don't know, am I a coward? Does this mean I don't have what it takes? Is something wrong with me? No, my dear. The only thing wrong with you is your strategy. Right now you're over here in the realm, in the world of, I'm going to figure this out and do this on my own. This is the world of the loser. And I'm not saying you're a loser, but if you do this alone, you will lose. Okay, so this is the realm of losing. Okay, what you need to do is come over here. Stop with the self-improvement. This is the realm of self-improvement. I'm going to do it on my own. You got to take a step over here and say, you know what? I'm going to mastermind. I'm going to mastermind because this is the realm over here. This is the world of power generation. You don't need to improve. You're good enough. More improvement didn't help me break through my fear, did it? No, I was very improved, but I was still paralyzed by my fear. What allowed me to get through my fear was when I came over here, started masterminding with other quality men and generated power. Power is what pushes you through your fear. Power is what pushes you towards your dreams, carries you into your dreams. Okay? So you need to ditch the strategy of going at things alone and move over to the realm of power generation. No more self-improvement. From now on, it's generating power. The only way to generate power is to mastermind with another person, one or more men who are in complete harmony with you. And another thing that Napoleon Hill doesn't say in this book, but that I realized, is that the only way to mastermind is to mastermind up. So right now, what does that mean? That means you're here. Okay, let me go back to my story. I was here, not getting success with women. I found men who were already successful with women, and I masterminded up with them. And what happens when you mastermind up is this person's skill set gets programmed into your brain, because we have mirror receptors in our brains. We're literally like photocopy machines. You've probably heard me say we are the average of the 5 people we hang out with the most. The average income, the average health, the average skill with women, the average confidence, the average etc. So when you mastermind with someone who's skilled, your mirror receptors are picking up everything and you are going brought up to his level. Okay, this is a shortcut. This is kind of like the cheat code. All right, you need to mastermind up. The mistake I made in my first attempt masterminding with Kevin is I was up here and Kevin was down here. And so I actually masterminded down. And that's why nothing good happened, because I masterminded down. And step 2, when I just hired someone for a weekend boot camp, that was an incomplete mastermind, because a mastermind needs to be sustained for a period of time to allow you to generate enough power, enough momentum, and enough action to finally bring your results into fruition. Okay? So your formula right now is to mastermind up for an extended period of time with a quality mentor or a quality group of guys. Now, in my life, I spent over $25,000 hiring different mentors, plus 3+ years seeking out, finding guys who are skilled with women and, becoming friends with them and masterminding with them. So overall, it took me $25,000 plus 3 years of going out and trying to find these guys who I could mastermind up with. And it was very difficult and a slow process for me to finally break through that invisible barrier and start getting the results I wanted. But for you, it doesn't have to take that much money, and it doesn't have to take that much time or effort. I have created a mastermind program that you can literally plug yourself into right away, right now, where you're gonna have the long-term 3-month support. You're gonna have the high-level masterminds with myself as well as my assistant coaches, and you're gonna plug yourself into a whole community which is all masterminding with each other with, what are they? They're masterminding in complete harmony towards the specific goal of getting good with women, breaking free from their fears, and approaching women confidently without fear, talking to them, having playful, great conversations with them, and then getting them out and so forth. And so if you want to break through your fears, you need to use the mastermind formula with all the aspects that I outlined here. So you can plug yourself into the system that I've created. It's called the Rites of Passage 12-week challenge. You can click the link below or go to jadtjones.com/ROP to check it out. And that's what's going to help you break through your fears. So I hope you experience the same epiphany that I had, that it's not that I'm not good enough. It's not that I'm a coward. It's not that I'm dumb and I don't get it. It's not that I don't have what it takes as a man. The only reason why I haven't been able to break through this invisible barrier of fear is because I've been doing at it alone. I've been at my computer alone. I've been going out alone. I've been reading books alone. The world of alone, self-improvement is the problem. So now, if you understood the epiphany in this video, you understand that you're leaving this world of self-improvement, underline the word self alone, and you're coming in to the collaborative world of power generation. Over here, when men, quality men, gather together, we generate power. Napoleon Hill, the 500 of the most successful men that he interviewed, the reason why they were successful is because they recognized this, irrefutable law of nature, which is that no man can generate power on his own. He must create a mastermind, and through that mastermind, that's where power is generated. When different minds come together in harmony, working towards one goal, then the tide rises all boats. So I invite you into our community, into our family, into our challenge. Join us in the realm of generating power so that you can start thrusting forward into the world and witness yourself having what it takes, and finally have that peace in your heart that you have what it takes as a man. And finally see yourself walking up to the most beautiful woman you've ever seen and having a wonderful conversation in a relaxed, cool, playful way with the most beautiful girl you've ever seen, and then witnessing yourself making that beautiful girl your girlfriend and having an amazing life and experiences with her. So that's what's possible for you if you use the mastermind principle with all the elements that I mentioned, which is you have to mastermind up, you have to have quality mentors, and it has to be for an extended period of time, and your mentors have to be dedicated to pushing you towards your greatness, supporting you, giving you emotional support, and keeping you accountable. So my dear, I will close by telling you, If you've been stuck up to this point, it's not your fault, man. It's not your fault. It's just that nobody taught you the mastermind principle and the fact that it's not optional. The mastermind principle isn't optional for success. If it was optional, it wouldn't be in this book. It wouldn't be in this book. It's in this book because it's one of the necessary principles, foundations of success. You cannot build your house on a shaky or incomplete foundation. You cannot break through your fears without using the power of the mastermind. So that is what finally helped me overcome my fear of approach anxiety, my general fear of women, and allowed me to now be able to date exactly the women I want. And I'll tell you, man, I may have struggled in the past. I may have spent tons of money and time and gone through rejections, and it may have taken me a very long time to figure this out. But just getting one of these gorgeous, beautiful, amazing women made all that worth it. And I'll tell you, for a long time, I didn't believe in myself. I thought something's wrong with me. I'm incomplete. I'm defective. Maybe I'm too quiet. I'm too shy. I'm too boring. I'm too much of an introvert. I'm too unworthy, whatever. In the end of the day, man, I was wrong about myself. I sold myself short. I blamed myself. But the truth was, it's because the reason I struggled is because Dad wasn't there. Dad wasn't there. He never took me fishing. He never took me hunting. He never sat me on his knee and taught me the ways of how to be a man. He never taught me the ways of how to talk to women, nor did my uncle, nor did my grandfather, I didn't have a big brother. And the main reason why I struggled and was a prisoner of fear wasn't because I wasn't good enough. It's because I wasn't supported by other quality men. And so that's why I've created the Rites of Passage community and challenge for you. So that I know that you are similar to me where you're in this world alone, fighting this fight alone. That's not the way to win, man. You can't fight the fight alone. You'll die. You die when fighting alone. Join the brotherhood, and together, that's how you fight the fight. In the mastermind, with your brothers, inside of our tribe. So I invite you to the Rites of Passage, where finally you can break free from your fear and no longer have to go at this thing alone. I'll close with this. All right, so what I explained to you today is that no man can generate power alone. Women want a powerful man, and you want to be a powerful man. You want to look in the mirror and know you have what it takes. To have what it takes means you have the power and confidence to go after what you want. Well, said simply, in this book, he said that a man cannot generate power alone. So if you learn nothing from this video, the one message I want you to leave with is don't go at it alone. Let this day be the day you draw the line in the sand and say, I'm never going at this alone. A man's journey is a journey of teamwork, of collaboration. Join a group of quality men, and that is when the direction of your entire life is going to change, and you're going to gain that masculine freedom to go after what you want despite fear once and for all. So I hope that helped. Leave your comments below, and I hope to see you inside the Rites of Passage Challenge. Take care.